Next, we have Mieke Hesseling. She's a sophomore at Culver City High School and a self-defined nerd jock. She's a part of the varsity cross-country team, the ABPA improv team, and she plays club soccer and does taiko drumming. Her passion for math has carried her throughout her school career, and she's planning on attending college after she graduates. Now, her presentation is interesting because she won a speech contest for this, but when she did, it was in Japanese. So she's translated it into English, so please enjoy the world's numbers.
Hello everybody, I'm Mieke Hesseling, as this one just told you. When I wrote that bio a week ago, it sounded a lot less lame. But it's true. I mean, I am a jock and I am a nerd. I was just in the weight room a couple hours ago, pumping iron, and now I'm here at this speech. I'm a sophomore and I'm taking AP Calculus. I do a lot of math in my free time. When I was in 8th grade, I was in Algebra 1, and then when I was in 9th grade, I was in pre-calculus. So between 8th grade and 9th grade, I took 2 main track math classes on my own time, geometry and algebra 2, as well as 2, just for funsies, math classes. So, if you couldn't already tell, this speech, just kidding, is about numbers. So some other background about me, I grew up speaking 2 languages, Dutch and English, and I've been learning a 3rd, Japanese, since kindergarten at Almarino. So I have a really large interest in language and how it developed in other parts of the world. So, for numbers. In English, we count pretty normally. For the most part, we go by digits. 83, for example, is just that, 8 tens and 3. Things get a little dicey between 10 and 20 when we do that whole teens thing, and it's like 19, and it's like 9, and then 10, but for the most part, it works. In Dutch, the language of my extended family and my second first language, we do this weird thing where we switch the tens and the ones digit. So 83 is 3 and tachta, which literally translates to 3 and 80. It's really weird, and I have trouble translating between Dutch numbers and English numbers in my head sometimes, and I've been speaking both languages since I could speak. And if you think that's fun, try the French program at our school. You'll learn that 83 is 83. I don't speak French, so that pronunciation might have been a little off. This translates directly to 4 20s and 3. 96 is literally translated as 4 20s and 16. French is actually the reason I got interested in this topic, but if you do some light research, you'll learn that that's just the tip of the iceberg. Other than France's weird obsession with 20s, at least all of these languages count in base 10. And if you're sitting there wondering, Mieke, what the heck is a base? What do you mean by base 10? I'm happy to explain. Right? There we go. So our counting system makes use of powers of 10. When we move digits to the left, we go to a higher power of 10. As you can see, we go from 10 to the first, to 10 to the second, to 10 to the third, and so on until infinity, essentially. And when we go to the right, bone. When we go to the right, we get to negative powers of 10. And we use a decimal point, notice the prefix deci meaning 10. So we also have 10 lovely digits derived from the original Arabic numerals, which are technically actually Hindu numerals, but how cool these guys are is a totally different 8 to 10 minute talk. So that's base 10, and there are some other examples of bases that we use in our daily lives, such as computer language, which makes use of base 2 and base 16. So base 2, more commonly known as binary, is your typical computer language made up of ones and zeros. So what would be the tens place is actually the twos place. It's a little cut off here, but if you look, this is your 1, and that's 2 to the 0, and then your 2 or your tens place is 2 to the 1, and so on and so forth. Modern computers make use of base 16. This is 2 to the 4th, and it's a lot more compact. You can say much of the same things with a lot less digits. French is technically a combination of 20s, base 20 and 10. Remember the weird obsession with 20s. So one of the best examples of languages that uses base 10 really cleanly is Japanese, which I've been learning since kindergarten. So rather than give numbers their own original names like 20 or 30 or 11 and 12, Japanese has words for the digits and each multiple of 10. So, or each power of 10. So 83 is Hachidu-san, or rather 8 tens, 3. So in order to learn to count in Japanese, you just have to learn the digits and the powers of 10. And you're set to count to infinity. So that's pretty cool and all, and probably the reason Japan and other Asian countries, like China, which Japan gets their language from, are so good at math, because it's easier to be good at something if the parts are simpler. So moving towards the other end of the spectrum are languages that don't count in base 10 at all, and even intermix multiple bases. Just think about that for a second. Instead of powers of 10, you'd have to regroup at 27. But why such a weird base? 27 is a pretty odd number. I mean, it's prime, it doesn't have many factors at all. 2 is prime. But then again, why 10? It's only natural because we're used to it. A popular theory as to why so many languages, counting systems developed around the number 10 is because we have 10 fingers. 5 and 5. So, the Oksapimi people took this to the extreme, basing their counting system around their fingers, arms, and head. So they start from their thumb on one side, it's arbitrary as to which side they start from, and head down their arm, to their eye, to their nose, and once they hit the other side, they actually use a prefix that means other. So they go eye, nose, other eye, ear, all the way down to their pinky. So obviously these people are not counting to very high numbers. But if this is too overwhelming for you, there is a solution. If you're feeling like the Count from Sesame Street, and you're just like, what is going on? There is a solution. Certain tribes in the Amazon rainforest just never develop numbers at all. They have no concept of amounts past 2. They think of things in a lot and a little. They can't remember patterns longer than 2. And they don't understand what 2 plus 4 is. Because 2 and 4 and addition don't exist to them. However, they can learn numbers. When learning Portuguese, these people can develop an understanding of numbers. They can rewire their brains entirely to understand what comes almost naturally to us. This shows how numbers are not inherent, but something our brains develop and are hardwired to understand as we learn them. If you ask me, I'd like to stick to base 10. I like counting on my fingers. It's easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It just makes sense. But there are people that disagree. The Decimal Society advocates for ditching the base 10 system we use in favor of a base 12 system. Because 12 has more factors than 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12, as opposed to 1, 2, 5, and 10, it would neaten up and simplify our mathematical lives significantly. And it would match our clocking months. But switching bases would mean a huge shift in culture and a complete re-understanding of our number words. For example, 10 or 10 would mean 12. And 20 would mean 24, because 2 times 12. And 30 would be 3 by 12, or 36, 40 being 48, and so on and so forth. America can't even switch from the overly complicated and outdated imperial system to the metric system. So no way an even bigger shift like that would ever be possible. We use math every day. We use it when we decide what time you have to leave to make it to the Frost Auditorium to see all your CulverTalks. You use it when you pay for groceries. Your cross-country coach uses it when he decides how many mile repeats to make you do to give you maximum soreness the next day. And the next time you subconsciously do some math, consciously think about what it would be like to do that math in base 27. And be glad our math system is good enough for the technological advances we've made. And when you're feeling frustrated in algebra class, be glad it's in base 10, something you understand, and not in base 27. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you so much, Mieke. That was so fascinating. I love that.